Is everybody full? I hope you guys enjoyed your lunch. And thanks for staying for this talk. It's actually a real delight to actually have Tim join us for today's panel session. Founder Lightning Talk session. For those who not in the know, Tim is actually one of the pioneers for AI in call centers, right? And today we'll be talking a little bit about his journey, specifically like how he came about, building this company, and So
yeah, super excited to be here.
Okay, thank you. So, Tim, if you look at when I read your bio, you were a very early employee of OpenAI. How I mean, this is 2016, by the way. So, how was that like?
Yeah, I mean, just like any startup, early OpenAI is also very chaotic. But I think that it was like at the beginning of AGI, and people were excited about building AI that could change the way that other people work. And I would say early OpenAI was a very high talent density environment. There were a lot of like rockstar researchers, like working with Andrej Karpathy and Ilyas Askever was really eye-opening. Everyone's super ambitious, but also very focused on the mission of building AGI. We had no idea how to build AGI. A lot of people thought that it would take 30 years. There's many research bets, maybe 5 or 6 parallel directions you're exploring. There's like a robotics team, there's a reinforcement learning team, there's like a language model team, and it's unclear which direction is going to win now. But yeah, eventually I think that the scaling starts around language models, and it seems like there's some promising results.
And what were you working on, if you may ask? Or is it not confidential?
It's no longer confidential. I work at this project called Worded Bits with Andrej Karpathy. It was one of the early prototypes of our reinforcement learning agent, and back then we didn't have LLMs. So we tried to build this AI that could use keyboard and mouse to control the computer. It was pretty hard to do because there wasn't enough data. There wasn't pre-trained models. So in order for the agent to work, you need to train on a lot of demonstration data. So we ask humans to demonstrate how to book a flight, how to book a hotel, how to navigate websites. Use that data to train our agents to do things. I think this will be like a precursor to Operator if we had LLMs where we can use these pre-trained models to guide the agent to do a lot of complicated tasks autonomously.
Wow, this is even before like agentic was a thing, right? So
yes, yeah. Now we can call it agentic. Yeah.
Okay, and then how did you? I would say started your entrepreneurial journey in the sense like, how do you start Cresta, and what was the story like?
So I was excited about research, but back then there wasn't a lot of. There was a lot of applications that I'm excited about. I want to see like the research be actually transforming the world. So I met someone from Sebastian Thrung's lab, and Sebastian was the father of Google's self-driving car. He has a lot of vision around how AI could not only help you drive on the street autonomously, but also help you automate repetitive work. So imagine like, it's like self-driving car for knowledge work where you can have like a fleet of human workers augmented by AI, and AI and human agents working together. So that was the beginning. And yeah, so I met my fellow like researcher, PhD student at Stanford, and we were like super excited about this mission. And that was the beginning of a lot of the large language model stuff in 2017. Nothing has been scaled or working yet, but we saw the potential of deep learning. We saw, if you remember, 2017 was actually before that. It was AlphaGo and AlphaZero.
AlphaGo.
Right? People were beating the best the best Go players in terms of in gameplay, and that's very impressive. And we thought that AI, if we train it on a narrow domain like call center, we could be the best humans. And we picked call center because it was one of the domains with lots of data, with an area where you can have like hundreds of thousands of hours of call recordings that you train AI. So we're super excited about it. We have no idea about how call center works. We're like just very tech, nerds and PhD programs. No idea how business works, but we just want to get started.
I just want to stress, I mean, for me, it's actually quite interesting to note, because when he was doing this thing, this is before LLMs was a thing. So you were training on RNNs, right? Like recurring networks and CNN.
Right. If you all remember, it was called LSTMs.
LSTMs.
Yeah. It was like a form of recurrent neural network before people found that transformers actually scale better. Yeah, but we have to like train the LSTM and the RNNs on like customer data. But before Transformer came out, that really changed things.
Yeah, because Transformer came out in 2019, right?
2017.
Oh, 2017. Yeah. Sorry, attention's all you need, right? Okay.
2019 is the year I actually scaled up with GPT-2.
Oh, with ChatGPT.
It's actually becoming like more scalable with a lot of data.
I see. So maybe I think one of the biggest issues with training data is first finding the data and getting the data. Was it very challenging for Cresta? Any early days, right? Because the data is always everywhere, right? It's always in pockets. So what were the challenges that you had when you collect the data and train the data? And for those who want to build an AI company, that will be the first issue you face when you want to build an AI company. So maybe you can share a little bit with our audience.
Yeah, I would say we got a lot of inspiration from self-driving cars. When Sebastian was building Google self-driving car, it was it used a lot of human data as well, right? You have human driving on the street and collecting data about the cities, about how the best human drivers drive. And we're sort of applying that analogy to call centers. So we want to build a product that can go into the call centers and collect data. So we built this essentially a co-pilot type of product where as contact engineers speak or type, we can auto-complete what they're going to say next. So it's a very simple feature product, help them type faster, but allow us to capture all the conversation data of the call center agent. So we essentially build a version of like digital, like sort of you call like self-driving car or not. Like essentially you're helping the agent do the work better while capturing the data that could train the AI models to be fully autonomous in the future.
So is your installation for the models, are they housed within the company, or is it on the cloud or on a private cloud network?
Yeah, we found that a lot of customers actually prefer cloud. Eventually, I think we're in a good period of time building the company, where if you remember from like 2010 to 2020, there's like a huge migration from on-premise systems to cloud. And that wave accelerated during the pandemic, where a lot of call centers wanted to move to like cloud because we want the agent to work from home. So we were able to capture a lot of that demand. We're allowing people to build, like people want to host their data in the cloud so that the agent can use the software when they're working from home and accessing that data.
Oh, by the way, in case I went a little bit too far ahead, maybe we could describe like a typical use case of how Cresta AI, does for, let's say, a call center for an agent, like from one point to the other.
We started with augmentation. So I would characterize it as augmentation, automation, and insights. So we started with augmentation in 2017, where we built this co-pilot-like product to help agents type faster and better. Then we expanded the product. Like when you're building enterprise product, you start with one particular insertion point that can add value to the customer, but then you add more and more product, more features, and build a complete suite of platform. So we eventually expand into automation, where we can build chatbots, voice bots, completely automate part of the conversation. We also had insights. It's like an AI-driven analytics that can analyze across your millions of conversations how to better understand customers, how to better respond to customers. So that's roughly like the three things we do, and we build a unified platform to do that. So we call it unified AI platform for a human and AI agent, where you can actually operate a call center. Think of it as like a future AI native call center, where not just human agents, you have human and AI collaborating seamlessly together.
Okay. And do you have to, I'm guessing you have to work quite a lot with, let's say, the Druid or the PBX systems or the like
That's
the
the tough
platforms.
part.
That's a really tough part, right? So I mean, I'm sure there's some telco guys here, so I shouldn't complain, but so
Yeah. Uh, so people say AI is hard, but actually integration is harder. Especially integrating the call centers. A lot of the call centers don't have cloud-based software, and we work with companies that have like hard phones. So these are like physical phones they have to pick up to answer like customer calls, and integrating that is really painful. And we have to build like custom integrations that integrate into like the PBXs we sell, like the systems to capture the voice stream. We even build custom integrations that live on the desktop that hijack the audio from your microphone and speaker. So because a lot of call center platforms actually didn't have APIs or voice streams, right? So we have to like figure out creative ways to get around it. So I would say integration is like a huge part of what we did.
was there, when you do your training portion, was there a difference between from 2017 and now, the level of manual supervision, like human supervision, with regards to the training itself, as compared to now? Like, has it gotten faster?
Totally. When we're training LSTM RINs, you need a lot of data. When GPT-2 BERT came out in 2019, these are pre-trained transformers trained on internet scale data, but they're not as big as GPT-4 or 5 today. But it just immediately reduced the number of like data samples you need. And when GPT-3, 4 came out, you can do like few-shot learning, in-context learning, right? Then you can do prompt engineering. And we just see the amount of data you need to customize for each customer is like greatly reduced over time. So initially we had like a huge in-house labeling team. We eventually moved that team to be a sales team. So because I think eventually you don't need that much data to customize the AI. What you need is more like context engineering and understanding customer needs, and basically program the business logic and needs into the AI.
Okay, so yeah, on that note, let's say you're trying to do contextual engineering, which is actually a new, I won't say a new, but it's a emerging field within the whole ML space. How long do you need to contextualize with a customer before they can go on semi-autopilot, in that sense?
It does take a while, because depending on the customer, part of the context engineering is figuring out the integration. Integration gets easier over time because now a lot of customers have APIs and cloud platforms. I would say it would take about 4 to 8 weeks to get the integration set up, and you would need to create the context and examples. But the challenges today becomes for enterprises, like how do you evaluate AI agent, right? How do you make sure it can robustly run across a lot of scenarios? And that becomes more of a iterative process with the customer, right? You build a version 0 of your agent, then you test it on like historical data. You figure out what are the issues, what are the bugs that you have to fix. Then the agent gets better and better. So iteratively, it gets stronger on the evaluation. And then when the model is ready to go into the production, we ship it, and you become live.
Actually, I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I know it's not on the panel, but we would love to actually have some audience questions. I'm okay. I'm sure you're okay with this, right? So maybe have a mic, like just in case. We'll move into an audience questions. If not, I still have a lot more questions to ask him. So, like, anyone has any questions? Okay. 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 Oh, Thomas. Yeah.
There's lots of talk about really cool agents. What would you say where would we go and look at maybe best in class Because lots of people will hold up a phone and they'll give you a pre-recorded video or tape. But could you give us a couple examples of go look here, which maybe shows you're best in class? Because I've seen a lot of agents and you can't wait until you say, get me to a human.
Yeah, I would say the best in class, as you say, is going to be. I think today, as you see, like a lot of agents are not able to completely replace humans, and I think Ilya Saskiva had a podcast today where he's talking about true AGI will still be 5 to 15 years away. Because the model today, even LLMs are very powerful. It cannot do like continual learning, cannot like be able to handle and generalize across all the edge cases. So what we found is the best approach is still a hybrid approach where you have AI and human working together. And where AI agents work really well is where AI can take the beginning of the call or like repetitive use cases where you could have the AI just handle these ones that are super repeated patterns, where humans will handle the edge cases, and I think that's the right approach for the next decade. And we took approach where we build a unified platform for AI and human agents, where managers and human operators can see across all the conversations. It has a seamless transfer between AI and a human. That kind of experience really delight customers, and all the customers we serve, like airlines and banks, and they really love the idea of having this incremental approach, right? Instead of you going in and say we're going to replace all your agent, which is like a little bit marketing over promising. You go in and say, let's start with one use case. Let's see, how your agents can be doing better with AI, and maybe we will figure out what use cases are repetitive, what use cases are easy to automate, and using that analytics and insights to drive the automation transformation of your company. Does that answer your question?
Thomas? Anyway, Thomas is with Dyson, so.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So, any other questions? Yes, the gentleman at the back.
Hi. I have one question about the AI agents. Are they empowered to take decisions, especially in the cases where they are managing certain commercial decisions, and then who is responsible for the decisions if decisions go wrong, like consequences of the decision, like who is penalized if the decision is wrongly made and there is a loss to the client you are serving, how you manage that contractually? Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that you had a really good question. A lot of LLM agents today are not actually deployed in like these mission critical use cases where if you make a wrong mistake, it will cause like disastrous outcome for the enterprise. I would say this is the case today. It might be the future where AI will do more and more. So we will delegate more decisions for AI, but then you would have to evaluate the model and agent to be able to make sure that it does the right thing at the right time. And then incrementally, you have more trust and more delegation to the AI. It's kind of how you onboard a human employee as well, right? In the beginning, you give more guardrails, you help, figure out how this employee is doing, and eventually you can let it go and trust them to do the right thing. Maybe sometimes there's some mistakes, but you course correct. In terms of like responsibility, I think a lot of companies actually starting to set up this machine learning AI review board where they will have a committee of people reviewing like what the model output is, and they will figure out like the responsibility in case like a model goes wrong.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, the lady at the back.
Hello, I'm Serena. Oh, bit loud. I know this topic was on how do you balance enterprise decisions. We're working with a lot of enterprises now, but we've found that when there's more voices in the room, it's hard to balance all the decisions. I'm curious, as you're building your startup or the company that you've built today, how do you balance all the different decisions? How do you weigh it? And how do you know when to do what? Especially when there's so many stakeholders and the decisions are very complex.
That's a good point. I think the key to a lot of good decisions is actually information. So we try to, for example, be really obsessed with customers. When they have an issue, we try to understand and ask a lot of questions. Early on, as you also talked about, like we flew a lot of engineers on site to customers, and we have these Airbnbs that we rent in and then be able to like go there and help debug the issues. So be close to customer allow us to understand, what pain they're feeling and what are the, exact amount of information that allows you to make really high quality decisions about the product, about how you can serve them better. And I think more broadly, as the company scales, we hire more executives and leadership that have experience and expertise about like making those decisions. So we start to delegate more as founders. We give them more control and about like in different domains, they will make their own decision and trust them to make the right decision. But I think the culture matters a lot because for the company, you want to set a set of like cultural norms where everyone will follow. If, for example, customer obsession is the kind of culture that we want to instill in the company that allows everyone to be, making really good decisions about the customer.
Yeah, maybe we'll last one. Two last ones.
Hi, thank you. So given that 95% of enterprise AI pilots allegedly failed to deliver ROI, and that Cresta's automated testing ensures accuracy at scale, what sort of AI governance frameworks do you recommend for enterprises to transition from proof of concept confidence to sustain business value?
Good question. Yeah. So this report, I think the MIT report actually touches upon the deployment agency enterprise. And as we mentioned before, there are different stakes of different deployments for AI agents, right? For customer support and for coding are two use cases that companies are seeing real value because it's relatively on the user side. There are more complex decisions the AI agent try to tackle, but it's harder to do. In terms of governance, I would say it's hard to make a generic one. I can speak for like customer support, where we actually try a more incremental approach, where we have human agents to use the AI first, to see as a guardrail, as like a first line of defense, and the companies will have like these machine learning review boards as a governance structure to look at the conversation data, to look at the model output, and review if the AI is making the right decision. And over time, they can decide and incrementally which use cases, which conversations to automate first, and that allows them to incrementally roll out the automation. So we took a more incremental approach that way.
Okay, and then sorry, Percy. I'll bring him to you later. So, and with that, we need to close this session because we're running out of time. Thank you, Tim, for your very insightful conversations. And please stay on for the next one. We have a very exciting panel next. I can't remember what, but I remember it was very exciting. So okay,
awesome.
Thank you.